Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the Opportunistic Trader. It's Friday, October 19th, and we're now joined by Mark Fisher. How's it going, Mark?
Good, Mike. How are you?
I'm good. I'm thankful it's Friday. It's been a long week, a lot of volatility, but some good opportunities out there. You were with us last week, and you had some interesting calls, and you were talking about more volatility, which we've seen, and you were also talking about lower oil prices, which we also have seen. What are your thoughts here?
I think two things. One, I think nat gas is still headed for a big move up, and you can tell by it's got. You look at the slope of all the moving averages, sloped up. Of all the commodities, relatively hasn't given back much, if anything, of its gains. It's probably two or three good weather reports away from making new highs on this move, and obviously it's weather induced. But next week is we come into the 3-day expiration window at the end of the week, and it's should be an interesting week next week in that gas. I don't think the volatility is that bad. So if you were to play through options, it's not a bad idea. Second thing is, I think you could just tell from the way the stock market's trading that it used to be, I read this someplace. It's not my quote, but I remember what's happened is fear of missing out has been replaced by fear of watch out below. All right. So that's that's made the VIX more jumpy. That means it's made more opportunities. But again, when the president, is talking about, blaming the stock market on the Fed or the this, that, the other thing, becoming too transparent. I mean, obviously, every central bank tries to prop up, you know, their their individual stock markets, but you know, why can't we go back down to test the lows? No reason not to. I mean, you know, things, time to buy things is when they're bad and less bad, and time to sell things when they're great and getting not so great. So I don't know if we're getting not so great, but I don't know what that defines it as. But again, I think that's a little out of my wheelhouse. But I kind of think, and I could be dead wrong. And I'm usually either dead right or dead wrong. I think that gas is poised for a big move up, which probably means you probably should buy Stratos. It's going. It's not staying here. It's either going up or down. 50 cents from here. So if you buy the December Stratos, you probably can make some money. I personally think the market's going up a lot higher.
Are there any
And
specific catalysts in that gas that you're looking for in the coming weeks, or is it just more something that it
I
just
think
takes off?
I just think people are panicked about the lack of storage and weather, even with the overproduction. And again, I think we talked last week about the nat gas stocks. If you look at the nat gas stocks, they've become almost call options on nat gas. They're so cheap. So that area of the market has gotten pummeled for the last 3-4 years, and those stocks have become like almost lottery tickets. I mean, not Mega Million tickets, but lottery tickets.
Funny you say Mega Millions. I think Larry literally just left the office to go buy some Mega Millions. What do you think about that?
Well, you know what he's going to do? He's going to buy Mega Million tickets, and then he's going to go ahead to his friends and call me up and try to write options against the tickets.
Yeah, I don't even know. Us down in South Florida, I don't. We are just talking about it. I don't know if we can buy these tickets, but
Yeah, you can. Yeah, I bought them. You can buy Mega Millions, you can buy Powerball, you can buy everything.
Larry, actually, you would have missed this conversation. You missed this conversation, but he was actually just saying different locations we should go to because he's biased. He thinks that certain locations better chance of winning than others. And I told him he's never won in the past. So what's his experience on that one?
I think that's he's a little bit of a nincompoop company. It's sort of like this isn't like the Harvard admissions. If you go to one place, you got a better odds of getting winning. It's so stupid.
That's what he's
But
going
anyway,
for. It's interesting looking at the global equity landscape. It's really not a pretty picture. The U.S. is doing fine, but if you take out the technology sector, the FANG sector, technology, we'd be down 10+%. Like we're just bringing up the housing market, and it's gotten crushed. And you take a look at other housing names that whether it be a flooring company, a roofing company, a tile company, these companies are down 20 to 40%. A lot of them.
I think that yeah. I mean, listen. I think also Amazon's going to pick a new headquarters. It was in the Times today. They're probably going to go to Maryland, right across from Washington D.C. Right. I mean, at some point, these multiples are going to come in some of these names. But that's outside. That's actually my edge is I think that nat gas is going to have a move. I think it's up. I could be wrong, but everything's telling me that it's going to be up. And LNG prices worldwide are much higher. The coal can't really substitute for it anymore. It's too high priced overseas, and you're getting. I see Poland just committed to a big LNG contract with the United States to lessen their reliance on Russian, nat gas. I think that one of the things that may happen out of this entire, EU craziness with between the United States and the EU in terms of exporting and imports is that the EU will commit to importing a ton of LNG from the United States to lessen, number one, to help to pacify Trump, but more importantly, to lessen their reliance on the Nord Pool pipeline that Russia runs into midstream Europe.
Hmm.
So I think with if that comes out, that probably will add people aren't stupid. I mean, how much more can you pump unless I know all these other pipelines are connected to Marcellus and to the Permian, but at some point this LNG story is going to overwhelm that. And so I think you're going to see large macro players come in to buy nat gas because of the fact that there's just so much. We've now taken the domestic demand and made it almost an international commodity.
Yeah, that's interesting. Last week when you were on, you came up with an interesting point before a lot of people had really been talking about it. But, you were talking about crude oil being lower, possibly on the Saudi news, how it could be actually, a lot of people are looking for it to be an upward catalyst, but it's actually potentially a downward catalyst as maybe the Saudis look to appease the U.S. government and say, hey, we'll start pumping a lot of oil just to bring prices down. Any sort of thoughts on crude here and with the Saudi developments?
I think that now again, you have to look ahead. Even if they pump a little more, how long are they going to pump more for? 2 weeks, until the headline blows over. Once the headline blows over, it'll be back to the same games as usual. So I think now you probably again coming into this period again, I still be a buyer of dips, especially in the products, and I still think that you have some wacky weather going on, and depending on how strong the weather patterns are this year. I mean, you've got a significantly warmer south, a significantly colder, north and west and east, and so again, nat gas, and it responds to weather more than anything else. And I think crude oil also. I mean, if you look at it's just the supply demand picture. If Iran really gets shut out November 8th, it could be really pretty bleak supply picture. But we'll see.
Yeah. What about from the different traders you speak to, different friends you speak to? What do you get the sense is the big positions in the market right now across any sort of markets that you're hearing? Any sort of large exposure anywhere?
I think the largest position that I hear from people I'm not really involved is being short the euro.
Short the euro. Yeah, we've talked about that one. It's really done nothing. It's been stuck here for 4 months at, plus or minus one big figure from 115. We're right now 115.14. And yesterday, everybody was selling it on the Italy news. And euro yen traded lower. Euro was trading, heavy yesterday. But here we are back above 115. Does not want to break.
So, all right, that's it. Tell Larry when he goes back with his Mega Million tickets.
You want in? Do you want me to tell him, send him a message right now to buy you a few?
I already bought mine. I'm sure whatever he's doing, he's fighting with the cashier because he wants to make sure he gets the edge on the tickets. So
yeah. Have you actually bought any?
Yes, I bought like $200. Yeah. Yep. The odds are really not even 1 in 300 million. They're really, if I've spoken to someone about that last week. The odds are really more like 1 in 500 million. But whatever.
It comes back to you being the disciplined trader. You've talked about it, at times just blowing off some steam and doing that, opposed to doing some other things. But when you're such a disciplined person, looking at those odds, it's interesting you even invest a penny in that.
No, it's not invest. That's waste. It's not invest a penny. It's waste.
Right.
So.
All right. Thanks a lot, Mark Fisher. We'll talk to you next week.